What's going on, my essential units? It's the Sentiment here, so back again with another classic WCW pay-per-view review. I can't wait to review this show, folks. This is a doozy because this weekend marks the 25th anniversary of a true classic show. I'm going to review right now. That is WCW Starrcade 1997 at the NCI Center. Right now it's called the Capital One Arena in the American capital of Washington, D.C. on the 28th of December 1997. The attendance of the show was 17,500. Starrcade 97 received about 700,000 pay-per-view buys. Wow! This is the highly purchased, bought WCW pay-per-view of all time. It revolves around one match, one rivalry. Hollywood Hulk Hogan represent the NWO, taking on the Icon Sting for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. We'll get to the main event later on in this review. The commentators for the show are Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Dusty Rhodes. It's Destiny, Daddy, Destiny! I can't really do my impression of Dusty Rhodes. There's wrestlers on the show. They're not booked on the show, but they attending the show in the crowds, you know, with the fans. You know, you got like Harlan Heat, Disco Inferno. I think Mortis was there. Mortis was there. That's the future Canyon, Prostitute Canyon. I think Hugh Morris was there. I'm not too sure. Glacier, James Vandenberg. That's the future. Was it Sinister Minister? James Mitchell in ECW and TNA. That'll be in a decade later when James Mitchell ended up going to those companies. And also Rey Mysterio was attend the show. I think he was wearing his green mask, drinking his drink. I think it was a hot drink or a cold drink, don't know. Before we get to the matches on the show, there's one segment I'm going to talk about right now. It's Scott Hall, one half of the Outsiders, represent the NWO, because the original match was supposed to be Kevin Nash versus the Giant. Anyway, so he came out wearing his Outsiders sweater / jumper. I think he was the TV champion, because he's not the tag team champion, because the Steiners holding the belt at the time. So I think he was the TV champion. He came out. He did his shtick like the hey yo, the too sweet, one more for the good guy, the survey. And yeah, he said that he's going to face the winner of the Hogan or Sting for the world title at Super Brawl. You know, unfortunately, that's not going to happen. He's gonna, not going to face. Yeah, he said he's gonna face Hogan or Sting for the world title belt at Super Brawl. You know, change plans. Anyway, so yeah, he said to the fans that Kevin Nash is not going to make it for tonight. And he called the Giants a Frankengoof, and he did like this Frankenstein like gesture towards the Giant, and then out comes the Giant, you know. And also he sends the he asked for the referee to did the 10 count, give the Giant a count out win, because he won by default because Kevin Nash did not show up. Anyway, out comes the Giant. He said he is a patient man. He's going to be in this business for a long time, and he is right, because he's been in the professional wrestling business since 1995. The first wrestling company giving him a big break was WCW, and then he went on to the WWF/WWE. Stayed there for 21 years, and then he ended up, right now he's in AEW. Yeah, I think he was commentating on the Elevation show. I don't really watch that, so. Anyway, so let's end this segment. You know, you had Scott Hall throw his trademark toothpick in the face of the Giant, did some cheat shots like punches. The Giant fight back, hit Scott Hall with the headbutt. I think he picks him up, gorilla press him on his shoulders, and slammed him onto the mat. And then he was going for the choke slam. Instead of the choke slam, he hit him with a power bomb, basically taking shots of Kevin Nash, because Kevin Nash's finisher is his power bomb, the jackknife power bomb. So Giant hit Scott Hall with the power bomb and left. So this will set up the Giant Kevin Nash match at Sold Out the following month. So there's many reasons why Kevin Nash did not attend the show to face the Giants. There's many reasons. I'll get to the main reasons Otherwise, it'll be a very long video, folks. One reason that the reason why Nash did not show up for the show because he was suffering from a heart attack. You know, he got symptoms of a heart attack. There's one theory that he's about to attend the show, going to I think it was on a bus or a plane to go to the American capital of Washington. He was afraid his weight is in his bag, so he threw his bag out. So there's one main reason that he's playing his political card. He don't want to do the job to the Giant because he knows he's going to lose to the Giant on the show. So I don't know. There's many reasons we're not going to get the truth out. So it's just what it is. So the fight sold out. This is I think it's all revolve around a power bomb. Kevin Nash. I think it was like in this time period. You had Kevin Nash managed to hit the Giant with the jackknife. That was got to be the biggest power bomb in the history of professional wrestling history. So anyway, let's talk about the matches on the show. 8 matches on the card. The first match is the first of 3 championship matches on the show. We got Eddie Guerrero defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Dean Malenko, future members of the Radicals. This was a good match. And the only nitpick about it, it was a bit slow. It was a bit slow paced. It's not a traditional, standard, simple WCW Cruiserweight match, with guys like Mysterio and Hoovy doing the fast paced stuff. No, this was a technical match, working on technical wrestling. Eddie does sometimes the high flying spot, great the Lucha Libre style, but sometimes he mostly does the technical style. Malenko is a technical wrestler if you watch his matches in the past. It was a good match. Eddie was playing the chicken shit heel. He was basically one more match. He was on his knees and managed to get out of the ring, taking a breather. That's simple like chicken shit does. Leave, get some take a breather. And then one more in the match. He's on his knees, kissing Dean Malenko's boots and trying to shake his hand. Malenko not putting up of Eddie's shit. And then I think he drop kicked him. So yeah, the bulk of the match, you had Eddie working on the leg of Dean Malenko. And before that, Malenko hit Eddie Guerrero with some big power moves, even though he's a short man. Both Malenko and Eddie are small men. I think Eddie's 5'8", Malenko's about 5'9", I think. Malenko hit Eddie. I think it was Eddie was going for the Hurricanrana off the ropes, but Malenko countered it into a powerbomb. And then he hit Eddie Guerrero with a sick Alabama Slam. That was sick. That was cool. It just hit the mat, Anyway, so yeah, the bulk of the match, Eddie was working on the leg of Dean Malenko. I think one more of the match, he kind of rammed the steel steps onto the injured leg of Dean Malenko. In the end, Eddie Guerrero got the victory, hit Dean Malenko with the frog splash onto the injured knee for the win. So Eddie wins this match and retained the Cruiserweight Championship. So it was a good match, It was basically the match of the night of the show, but yeah, the show went absolutely downhill ever since. It's not to say pretty, but it was a bit slow in my taste. But I think they had worked away a really good technical style match. They don't need to do some high flying spots to get the crowd going. It's a really good. It was still a good match to watch, for the technical side of being a cruiserweight wrestler. So it's just what it is. So anyway, the next match, it was supposed to be a 6-man. It's a 6-man tag team match, actually. I'm trying to say. So in this 6-man tag team match, we got the Steiners and Ray Traylor. That's the former Big Boss Man. The Boss Man, that'll be his gimmick in WCW. Big Bubba Rogers and the Guardian Angel. He's now wrestling with his real name. That's actually his real name, Ray Traylor. Teamed up with the WCW at the time, the WCW Tag Team Champions, the Steiner Brothers, Rick and Scott Steiner, with Trillionaire Ted. That's the former known as the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase Sr. Taking on 3 members of the NWO. The 3 members represent the NWO. That is Scott Norton. Vincent is formerly known as Virgil, used to be the former servant of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase Sr. and Macho Man Randy Savage. Originally it was supposed to be Conan, but instead, for whatever reason, so they put Randy Savage instead with Miss Elizabeth in the corner with blonde hair. Liz with blonde hair, I like her as a brunette. She's natural as a brunette. Anyway, this was okay. I was going for like I was going for like this is gonna be a decent match, a freestyle like classic, but instead it's not really a freestyle classic. It was a standard match. It wasn't terrible, but you know the first half was a bit slow paced. You know you had the heels working on Scott Steiner, but I think the one person saved this match is Vincent Virgil. You know, he saved this match. He was bumping his ass off in this match. You know, he took some nasty bumps, you know. One funny spot, you know, like Savage using Liz as a shield, and Steiner managed to pick her up and put her on her side, put her, like, from the side, you know, to get to Savage. That was a funny spot. So, yeah, Vincent, actually. Vincent really, like I said, bumped his ass off. You know, he took, like, nasty bumps, you know. He took like I think it was it was a lot of tag team maneuvers, also kind of spiced things up. He took like a tag team, I think it was a tornado DDT by the Steiners. It was he dropped on his head. That was sick. You know, the Steiners hit like the tornado DDT. That was a near fall. And then Scott Steiner hits Vincent with the Frankensteiner. You know, wow, kudos to Virgil. He's the NWO lackey. He's not really a wrestler. I know he wrestled in the WWF, but he's more of a lackey. But he really took some balls to take some bumps. Anyway, so the Steiners were going for, I think he hit, I think it's one of the members of the NWO with the Steiner finisher, but instead, I think it was Savage, you know, but instead Norton broke it up. I think it hit Scott or Rick with the it was an electric chair drop, and then Savage hits his trademark elbow drop off the top rope for the win. So, this is a difficult one, but you know, fuck it. I think it was a good match overall. I think Vincent saved it, and the tag team maneuvers also saved it, spice things up. If they did not have Vincent and Savage in this match, I think this is be a boring match, but it was boring for the first half. When Vincent came to the ring, it spiced things up, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't like a 4-star classic, but I think it was a decent, good match. You know, if I rate this, I'd probably give it 3.5 stars. You know, it's still a good match for Vincent getting his ass kicked. So, like I said, after that, the show, like I said, went downhill. And before that, and also I thought I was going to give it 2 stars, but 3.5 was, like, I think it's fair. So, anyway, like I said, the show still went downhill after that. So, the next match, holy shit, we got Steve Mongo McMichael taking on Bill Goldberg. Holy fuck. So, this is Goldberg's first pay-per-view match on pay-per-view since debut with the company. His first pay-per-view appearance, I think, was from Sneak Attack against Mongo at Halloween Havoc. That was his first pay-per-view appearance. This is his first pay-per-view match. This was the start of his Goldberg's legendary undefeated streak. I think the build-up to this, you had Goldberg stealing Mongo's Super Bowl ring, because Mongo used to be an American football player. I don't know what team. I think it was the Chicago Cubs he played. I'm not too sure on it. So anyway, the match between Goldberg and Mongo sucked. Mongo is shit. I'm sorry, he was shit. When I watch these Mongo's matches in this time period, he's not that good in the ring. You know, he was part of the Four Horsemen. I think he was the United States champion at one point. I think Mongo's better off as a manager. I think he plays that role pretty well. Him on commentary, I don't mind him on commentary. I think he's okay on commentary for me. I think as a wrestler, not so good. But as a manager, I think he's better off as a manager. But anyway, so the match sucked. No chemistry. Goldberg is not known for his, he's not a ring general. He's been in business for months now, or a year now. I'm not too sure on it. So, anyway, no chemistry. Goldberg really put Mongo through a table. He basically punched him off the ring apron. He crashed through the table. Mongo was going for the Mongo Spike. It's basically the Tombstone Power Driver, but he kind of sell in the back. In the end, Goldberg hit the jackhammer for the win. And funny that I don't know. I don't know. That's it, just the jackhammer. Because yeah, if you watch a Goldberg match, he mostly hit his trademark spear, then the jackhammer. But I think he hit the spear later on in his career. So basically in his run in WCW. So anyway, it was just nothing much. It was basically getting Goldberg over. You can tell that Goldberg is going to be a future star. It's funny that the following year's Starrcade, he ended up main event that next year's Starrcade as the world champion. So I'll get to that Starrcade, not next time, but in the future. So moving on to another bad match. This is a Ravens Raw match. It was originally supposed to be Raven versus Chris Benoit. Raven cut a promo, said during his contract, said he's not conform to their rules and structure, referring to WCW. He fights anywhere, anytime. He fights when or where or who. And he said like Saturn is gonna face Chris Benoit. Should have done a long time ago. The destruction of Chris Benoit. Then out comes Saturn and Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit cut a fucking crap promo. I'll tend to remember the promo. Holy shit, it's bad. He said, "Quote the Crippler no more," referring to Raven. He always ends his promo like, "Quote the Raven no more." He said, "Quote the Crippler no more. I see reality through any fail. When I move with passion. When I rest for reason. I am who I am, are what they are." What the fuck is that? I'm not crapping on Benoit. It's just a crap promo. He's never known for good on the mic. I don't understand why they did that. He killed the Heat Man. So yeah, the Ravens Raw match sucked. It was boring. That's the problem with this show. The pace is slow. It was a slow-paced match. It would start out fast with Benoit getting the offense, and then the Flock interfered, really brought it down, And I feel like the whole bulk of the match is, Benoit had one or two offense, but it's more between, most of the offense is between Saturn, And also Saturn and Benoit are future members of the Radicals when they went to the Day after in 2000. It's boring as shit. I think it was mediocre. You got members of the Flock interfered, like guys like Kidman and Riggs and Sick Boy and Van Hammer. I think one more match, Benoit locked in the triple crossface onto Saturn outside the ring, and the Flock attacked. In the end, Raven, the leader of the Flock, hit Benoit with the even flow. Way better when WWF started to call Raven's finisher the Raven effect. That's completely stupid. I said in my review of Armageddon 2000, I like the even flow a lot better. Anyway, Saturn locked Benoit with his submission hold called the Rings of Saturn for the win, and that was it. Not the best Ravens Rules match, I never liked it. I liked the Saturn Raven match at Bash of the Beach 98 the following year. That was way better. I don't mind the interference by the Flock, don't get me wrong, but it was slow, it was not picking any pace, it never get out of its second gear. For me, it was a chore to watch, it's a bad Chris Benoit match, Both good workers, but besides that, I don't think there's any chemistry. I think it was better, if Raven was wrestling, would it be better? Yeah, I think they're better off doing a Ravens Benoit match instead of Saturn versus Benoit. It could be a better match than this, so let's move on to the next match. So that's match number 4. Match number 5, yeah, the match got fucking worse. This is probably the second worst match of the night. We got Lex Luger taking on Buff Bagwell. Another WCW versus NWO match. Because Bagwell represents the NWO, Luger represents WCW. Match sucked. Boring as shit. But it's good. Virgil kind of saved it, but that's not saying too much for bumping his ass, But besides that, I think Luger picked Vincent up and slammed him. But besides that, and also you got members of the NWO interfered. I think you had Savage interfered. Savage and Luger. Luger hit locked Savage with the torture rack. In the end, Scott Norton hit Luger. Yeah, there was a referee bump, by the way. Yeah, Norton hit Luger with, I think it was Rick Steiner's dog collar, and helped both Bagwell got the victory. By the way, Luger and Bagwell are future members of Totally Buff. I don't. No, they were not part of the NWO. I think Luger was part of the Wolf Pack, and Bagwell was part of the Black and White NWO. So yeah, it was boring. It was 16 minutes of shit. Why are they giving 16 minutes? Beats me. And the stuff with Luger and Savage, when Luger locked in the torture rack, it's just setting up Luger and Savage at Sold Out the following month. So moving on to the second of 3 championship matches on the show, and this is for the United States Championship. Kurt Hennig, formerly known as Mr. Perfect, defending the United States Championship against Diamond Dallas Page. Originally, it was supposed to be Kurt Hennig taking on Ric Flair for the United States Championship inside of the steel cage on this show. Unfortunately, Ric Flair suffered a leg injury, unable to compete. Don't worry, folks, he fight Bret Hart at Sold Out for a month, so DDP was filling in. Unfortunately, the steel cage was gone. It was not really a steel cage match. It was just a normal one-on-one match. Wasn't bad. Yeah, it wasn't a bad match between Hennig and DDP, but that's not saying too much. It was a bit boring, you know. Bulk of the match, you had Hennig working on the ribs of DDP, but you know, they fight a little bit in the crowd, but the finish was really good. So DDP was going for, it's the same position you're going for like the DDT, but instead he was, you know, he hit Kurt Hennig. I think he leaped over Hennig, hit the Diamond Cutter for the win, and win the United States Championship. So that was good. Like he was going for the second, he was going for the first time, but Hennig blocked it. I don't think, and also Hennig was going for the Hennigplex, formerly known as the Perfect Plex, but DDP like countered it. So is it a bad match? No. Is it terrible? No. It's right down the middle. So it's good to see DDP winning the United States title, because DDP deserves it, because 1997 was DDP's breakout year. I know he's been in WCW for years, but you know, breakout as going to be a future star in the company, because in the start of the year he rejects to join the NWO. I think he hit Scott. Almost say Scott Steiner. No, I mean Scott Hall with the Diamond Cutter. Hit Scott Hall with a Diamond Cutter. Then the whole bulk of 1997. DDP was feuding with Randy Savage throughout the whole of 1997. Was it Spring Stampede, Great American Bash? I think the blow-off was at Halloween Havoc. So, and I think it was a reward for DDP. You know, he's knowing that you won't win the world title again until 1999. Two more years later, you know, he went on to be in the world title picture briefly in '98, facing Goldberg at Halloween Havoc. So it was a consolation prize for DDP, because he, you know, busted out to get to get to that, like, soon to be in that main event spot. You know, going to be that top star of the company. I think they did the right call. I think in this match I think Hennig was way past his prime. I know Flair was way past his prime, but with Hennig, he's not the old school Kurt Hennig from the past. You know, I think that really hurt this match. You know, I think it was better off being a steel cage. I think it'd be more. I'll probably give it like 3 stars, but I'm not saying it's bad, but it was an okay match to watch. So moving on to the next match. This is match number 7, because the DDP Hennig match was match number 6. Match number 7. I think it says this is control of Nitro. We got Eric Bischoff, the president of WCW, taking on the living legend Larry Zbyszko, with Scott Hall in the corner of Bischoff. This is more between the rivalry between Scott Hall and Larry Zbyszko. Don't worry, folks, they fight at Sold Out in 1998. So this is just a pit stop. Match sucked. Years ago, I reviewed Taboo Tuesday 2004. It was the match between Bischoff and Eugene, Nick Desmond. It wasn't a terrible match. It wasn't terrible, but wasn't like going to be a 4-star classic. It was an okay, passable match. You know, like, this is in 1997. Larry Zbyszko is no Nick Desmond. Don't get me wrong, he's a living legend, Larry Zbyszko, but he was, like Hennig, he was way past his prime, had no business being in the ring. It was too much shtick. I'm sorry, too much shtick with Bischoff. Bischoff was a sleazy guy, you know, he's a good heel. One of my favorite, like, heel authority figures, you know. If he was a bit learned the ring, if he was properly trained and bulked up a bit more, he could be a really good heel wrestler, Eric Bischoff. So he was too much shtick. And then one more, and also I forgot to mention this show had the debut of Bret the Hitman Hart. He was the special guest referee of the Bischoff-Zbyszko match. This was Bret Hart's first appearance of a wrestling show since Survivor Series the previous month. You know, he left the WWF in an anticlimactic way because of the Montreal Screwjob. You know, I reviewed that show last month. Go and check it out. So it's good to see Bret Hart in a WCW ring. So he's the special guest referee. So one more of the match. Hall plays some kind of international object using the Ted Turner phrase of a foreign object into Bischoff's karate boots. When Bischoff was trying to hit Zbyszko, I think he hit Zbyszko with the roundhouse kick. The foreign object kind of fly out of the ring. That one looked bad. So anyway, you know, Bret attacked Hall, locked up Hall with the sharpshooter. I think Zbyszko choked Bischoff out with some kind of belt. Zbyszko won this match. I don't think he won the control of Nitro. That was a load of bullshit. It's just continued the rivalry between him and Scott Hall, leading up to Sold Out, lead up to Dusty Rhodes, turn on Larry Zbyszko to join the NWO. And by the way, they end up doing the same match, you know, the following year's Starrcade between Bischoff and Ric Flair for the control of WCW. And speaking of Ric Flair, this is the second Starrcade in the role he missed. You know, because he missed the 1996 Starrcade. He was feuding with the Giant for the United States title, but he suffered a shoulder injury. And then fast forward to 1997, feuding with Hennig. He was supposed to face Hennig for the United States title. He suffered a leg injury, so he fought at 1998 to face Bischoff. So that's another story for another time. So let's move on to the main event. The main event that people paid and watched. You had Hollywood Hulk Hogan defending the WCW World Heavyweight Championship against the Icon Sting. This is 18 months of build. So it started out at Bash at the Beach 1996 when Hogan turned his back into the dark side or onto the dark side. He went to the dark side, allied himself with the Outsiders, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash to form the New World Order. For months now, you got members joining the NWO. If you're not getting beaten up by the NWO, you join the NWO. If you're with us, you're against us. It's really overkilling at this moment in time throughout, you know, in the Monday Night War era of WCW. You know, people and not getting beaten up by the NWO, you end up joining the NWO in the process. So Sting, they want Sting to be part of the NWO. Really the WCW. You know, Sting getting sicker of the rumors and the accusations, you know, because people are turning back on Sting, what side Sting's going to be in. I think in one segment where, like, NWO had, like, a fake Sting. There's a guy dressed up like Sting with the trench coat and the face paint. You look like, hey, he's part of the NWO. Clearly that's not the real Sting. So Sting was fed up of the accusation by his fellow wrestlers, his family, his friends. So basically he took his ball and went home for the whole bulk of 1997. And Sting ended up with a new look, you know, with the dark hair, the white face paints, with the black eye lines around the face paint. It's basically based on the Crow. That's Brandon Lee's character of that 1994 Crow film. And also, I think according to Sting in an old interview, that his gimmick was inspired by Scott Hall. Scott Hall made Sting doing his gimmick, you know, in a good way. So anyway, for months now, Sting was in the crowd, in the rafters, look in the eyes of the NWO. For months, you know, J.J. Dillon, the one of the committee boards of WCW, wants Sting to fight any member of the NWO. Sting doesn't want to fight any member of the NWO. He wants to face Hogan. So people want to see Hulk Hogan versus Sting. So anyway, let's talk about this match. And also, there's another segment on the show. Me, Gene, interviewed JJ Dillon, who is going to be the referee for the main event. So they picked a name out of the hat. They picked Nick Patrick. Nick Patrick at the time was the cricket referee of the NWO. So he's reinstated. There's no problems. He's a trained, licensed referee. So anyway, let's talk about this match between Hulk Hogan versus Sting. This sucked. Before that, you had a good entrance with Sting, with I think it was a noise of a children saying, and also the intro, the beginning intro of the show was cool, seeing Sting in the warehouse. That is fucking iconic, man. Sting is fucking iconic, man, isn't it? Sting could be, man. It's a damn shame that Sting never it's a shame that they never done like a Crow sequel. I think Steve Bourne could be reprises. He could be in that Brandon Lee role, if they did that. But unfortunately, they never asked Steve Bourne to be. Hey, you want to be the Crow? We're gonna do this Crow sequel, man. I think he could do well, like Steve Bourne as the Crow in a movie. Anyway, he looks like he could be like the Batman. He could be a superhero. Sting looks like a superhero with that makeup. This gothic superhero. Anyway, so he came from the rafters, on a zip line. Anyway, so match sucked. Yeah, the reason why the match sucked, and also the rumors back in the day, Sting was in his peak of his personal problems because of his alcohol and painkiller addiction. So it was more Hogan had mostly the offense. Sting had 1 or 2 offense in the first half of the match. Some punches and 2 drop kicks. Hogan out of the ring, but it's mostly Hogan, just Hogan. It was working at a slow pace. It wasn't that boring, but it was just knowing people want to see Sting kicking Hogan's ass. We never got it. Anyway, so Hogan hit Sting with his baseball bat. Sting was not selling anything what Hogan does. And then here's the coup de grace, folks. Here's the coup de grace. So Hogan hit the leg drop onto Sting. Nick Patrick did the 3 count. Sting did not kick out from the leg drop. Hogan wins. What the fuck? And outcome, yeah, I'll get to the second half of this match, the restart shortly. So what the fuck is this? That is basically 18 months down the drain. So basically, everyone knows the story that it was supposed to be a 3 count. I'm gonna clap right now. So Nick Patrick supposed to do a 3 count. Hogan did the leg drop on Sting. Nick Patrick doing the 3 count like this, but instead he did like this. A very slow pace 3 count. What the fuck? So, like I said, Dave Pence's about to call for the bell. Out comes Bret Hart, says never again. Referring to the Montreal Screwjob because he got screwed by Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels in Montreal, in Bret Hart's home country, the previous month. So, and he kind of cheat shot Nick Patrick, and now for whatever reason now Bret Hart's the referee. He pulls Hogan back in the ring, and then finally Sting pull up his dukes onto Hogan, and then you got 2 members of the NWO interfered. And by the way, the DDP Hennig match was the only match without any interference. I forgot to mention that. So anyway, so it just had Bagwell and Norton interfered. Sting beat both Bagwell and Norton. And then Sting managed to lock in the Scorpion Deathlock onto Hogan. Hogan taps out. Sting wins the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. This is supposed to be the biggest win for WCW, but instead out comes the locker room of WCW, celebrate with Sting, and the show was off the air. What the fuck? There's many rumors. We're not getting the proper truth about what's going to happen. What's the main finish? There's many rumors like Hulk Hogan playing his political card. He's playing politics because of Sting's personal problems at the time. Or Hogan is second guessing. I wish Hogan just put his ego aside, let the actual finish play out, and then let it be good business, and then later on find out what's the problem. But no, it's just. And also Sting made Sting like a goof, man. He could not beat Hogan by himself, relying on Bret Hart doing the dirty job for him. It's just, I'm not crapping on Sting, but it's just like, why? And also, this is supposed to be the biggest show of the year, supposed to be the biggest storyline in the 18-month build, and and why you're doing a dirty finish on your biggest pay-per-view of the year to end the 18-month storyline between Hogan and Sting. I don't get it. It's just like, it's stupid. It makes Sting like a geek. And also, here's the kick up about this. Sting won the WCW World title on this show. Then suddenly, on the first Thunder, JJ Dillon stripped Sting out of the belt. So they did the rematch at Super Bowl the following year in 1998 between Hogan and Sting. Sting wins the rematch. That was all for nothing. It's just like all for nothing. It just makes Sting like a joke. It's just like, oh my god, I lost a lot of brain cells off this. I heard about this match. When I see it in person, I understand why. It was stupid. It's just like, it wasn't that boring. It was just, that's the problem with Hogan and Sting. They just never had any good chemistry. And Sting was not selling for Hogan's punches. I wish just people want to see Sting kicking Hogan's ass. We never got to see that. We got a little bit we got a bit in the second half, but not the whole match. If they just did this, if Sting was didn't have the pain addiction, alcohol problems, maybe it may not be like a 5-star classic, but it would be on that same level. But holy crap, it's just basically 18 months blow in people's faces. It's just like, people say this match between Hogan and Sting was start of WCW's downfall. Kind of disagree with you. I think the Finger Poke of Doom, the first Nitro of 1999, that was the start of WCW's downfall. So, but yeah, it's good to see Sting winning the title. The fans pop for that. But besides that, the match and the finish was botched. So it's just what it is. So anyway, my final reign for WCW Starrcade 1997. I have to give it a 3 out of 10. I think DX in Your House was a better show than this. This was shit. The two matches for me were good. I think I like the opener was Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko for the Cruiserweight Championship. I like the 6-man tag team match. Without Vincent taking that bumps. I don't know if I put it in the okay or the bad, but it's more my bias thing. I slightly put it in the good. It was still a decent, fun match to see Vincent getting his ass kicked. It was back and forth between good or okay. I think it's second best match of the night, in my opinion. But anyway, mostly with Virgil. It's a bit 50-50, man. I put it the good for Vincent taking his ass kick, and okay just the overall match of the 6-man tag team match. But besides that, and also I bought DDP and Kurt Hennig in the okay. It was an okay match, not terrible, not great, but man, a lot of shit on this show. First off, the pacing was slow. Most of the match was boring. You had Goldberg, Mongo, Benoit, Saturn, Luger, Bagwell, Bischoff, Sabisco was just a comedy. It was still bad, but it was still shit. And plus the main event with the botched ending between Hogan and Sting. So wow, worst show. People say this has got to be the worst show of the year, man. It's just it made WCW look bad. Maybe they thought maybe they don't have the chops to beat the World Wrestling Federation. So it's just wow. Like I said, I'm not doing these reviews to bash on WCW, but sometimes WCW do put on some good shows, but sometimes these type of stuff, that's the reason why they went out of business. It's just bad decision making, and politics that really put the company out of business in 2001. So that's my 2 cents on it. So yeah, I give it a thumbs down. Not a good show to watch. I'm not recommending you to watch Starrcade 1997. If you want to watch it for the shit, be my guest. So anyway, hope you enjoyed my review of WCW Starrcade 1997. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Smash the like button. Click the like, click the bell. Subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Be part of the Central Unit for more wrestling videos and more. I don't know what the next WCW show I'm supposed to review. Originally, I was supposed to review New Blood Rising, but I'm not going to review that next time. So I don't know. I'll let you know. I think in January, February time, I haven't reviewed it for a very long time, is Clash of the Champions. I haven't reviewed that show in a long while, so yeah, for the month of January and February of the start of 2023, I'll be reviewing some Clash of the Champions show. So anyways, Thanks for watching, guys. This is Central Man Official signing out. Check you later. And that's my review of Starrcade 1997. Not a good show. It's a thumbs down for me.